All right, we always talk money, yes? So now let's talk about why our deposit banks mostly do not seem to be empowering small businesses. I'm not going to put my guest on the spot because she's not inside of the bank, but we have with us right here the non-executive director at Wema Bank. You know, when we hear a bank, our head just goes up, and we want to ask you all the questions we've been keeping. She's also an executive coach. She's Mrs. Bola Martel Oko. Mrs. Oko, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here this
morning. Great to have you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just from, we understand your perspective, but we're just curious, why is it that banks do not like small businesses?
It's not that we don't like small businesses, I assure you, because, you know, small deposit banks at their core, they form the bedrock of the financial system. And basically what we do is to mobilize deposits from the public and channel it towards productive parts of the economy to be able to, and we do it through lending. And, you know, lending is a very complicated process. But I think one of the things that we've been able to do is to come up with flexible programs that would help small businesses.
So, and women businesses.
Women businesses, so yes. And I think that if you look at Wema Bank, for instance, we have a product specifically tailored for women businesses called Sarah by Women, which offers the necessary support and guidance for female businesses and SMEs to be able to grow. But there are a lot of significant challenges that these businesses face, and I would highlight some of them. So, for instance, we have a lack of proper documentation, proper documentation and structure, which is very key to be able to get any kind of funding. So you find that a lot of SMEs, women, female businesses, they're one-man businesses, they don't have the proper documentation, they don't have the structure that they need when they actually apply for funding. The other thing is that there's a lack of financial literacy. So for a lot of them, they don't really know about the structure that they need to have in place, which is really more about, not just about understanding loan documents. It's really understanding the cash flow, how to budget and all of that. And one of the things we do with Sarah by Wema is to educate them about this, so that when they have the necessary education, they are a better position to be able to get funding.
I do know, and I hear of some programs by banks who go above, you know, just the financials to try to educate and enlighten, especially the women and the youths, you know, on bookkeeping and all of that. And I'm wondering if that's making any difference to the ecosystem.
It is making a difference because, like I said, if you look at our own program, what we've been able to do is not just focus on like the metropolis. We actually go into like local areas.
You do it in languages?
We do it in languages, and we educate the women. And over the last few years, you have seen it make an impact. So these women, they are now, they understand that it's not just about running a business. There are certain things that must be put in place to make my business run more efficiently. If I want to be able to receive funding, I have to be able to do better as far as putting together my paperwork and the structure and the processes that I have for the business. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember that banks have to be able to have economic health, as I call it. So we have to be able to sustain our economic viability. So we have to be able to have guidelines to bring funding. But what we've been able to do, like I said, is to give these women the tools that help them, that position them better to be able to do so.
And I guess that's where your role also as a coach comes in.
Because one of the things I've seen when I talk to people, female entrepreneurs, is that there's so many things that they need coaching on. So whether it's strategic vision, because when I talk about vision, vision is really kind of what do you want to do. So for a lot of them, we have to talk about strategic vision. We have to build leadership capacity, because running a business is about leadership capacity. You have to be able to build capacity. I run a business too. Then we have to build resilience, because any business any point in time may suffer some setbacks. So it's about building resilience. It's about cultivating self-confidence. You'll be amazed that even the most successful business women, they suffer from what we call imposter syndrome or self-doubt. And as you scale your business, these are all things that become a reality. So it's really very important to be able to get some level of leadership building or capacity towards that, which is where coaching comes in.
So I hope that the color is changing. They used to say women don't support women.
Absolute
women look
myth.
down on women.
Absolute myth. You know, it's so interesting because I have an executive community of women. And one of my mantras...
That's a community of executive women.
Yes, yes. And one of the things I say, one of my mantras in the community is that this narrative that women don't support women, it's an absolute myth. You know, I have, in my own life, I have many women that have supported me, that continue to support me. And I have tried to provide the same kind of support for other women, not just as a board member, but as an executive coach, because I understand firsthand the unique challenges that women face, whether it's as an entrepreneur, whether it's you're sitting on the board, or whether you're managing a business. We have unique challenges that we face, and these are all the things that we address when we coach.
I guess the thing with women is you cannot always just look at the finance or the hardware, I think I like to call it, because women always have to remember the home front and prioritize that. And so even in your search for finances and career, that also comes and you have to handle it, which is something that most men do not have to deal with.
Absolutely, but I also want you to appreciate that when you empower a woman financially, it has a direct and positive impact, not just on the family, but on the community at large. And you know, in the last few years, there's been a serious reversal of roles, because it used to be the norm that it's the man that is the main financial provider for the home, but all these things are changing. And so we cannot just say, okay, women, your focus is to raise children, and so we don't need you to be financially empowered. I mean, right now, I have gone through a season in my life, all my children are adults. And so if I did not take the time to empower myself, now that I want to do some things that I'm able to do in this season of my life, then it will be a problem. Because think about it, you will not always have to mother for all of your life. There will be seasons of your life where your children are grown and you can do what you want to do. And so that's why it's very important to create the opportunities for women to be able to do that.
So you have to get empowered, get the knowledge before the children do not need you anymore.
Absolutely.
They will not always need you.
Absolutely, because, I mean, all my children are out of the house now. You know, so one of the things I've been able to do in the last few years, and I think COVID was a blessing for a lot of people in that regard, because we were home, so we didn't have to have that choice of going to work and having to leave our children. A lot of women that I know, I got my executive coaching certification during COVID, because all of a sudden I found myself, you know, in the house doing nothing, and I thought to myself, you know, why not do something that after COVID can become a value to other women? And so that's exactly what I did. So, you know, things are so different now because of the way that the internet is. You can be a stay-at-home mom and become a financial guru. I think, I forget her name, the lady who started Spanx. She started it in her kitchen. She was a housewife. And today, Spanx is a multi-billion dollar business. So all these limitations that we feel we have as women, it's really not a limitation. A limitation is only a limitation when you see it as such. So that's my personal philosophy.
All right, so let's end where we started from, in the banks.
Yeah.
We see the change. You talked about change of roles. We see a lot of executive women in the banks. I mean, you are also there. But is it changing the narrative? Is it bringing the womanly face to requirement for loans and funding of businesses?
So I think it's we need to keep educating the critical decision makers, right? So for instance, when I got on the board of Wema Bank, I think there was only 2 women in executive. There was 1 woman in executive management, and I think there was 3 women on the board. But now we have more women on the board. We have more women in executive management, and they're able to bring the unique perspective, because it's really about unique perspective, that about the challenges that women face, and I think it is making a difference. It is making a difference. We're seeing more women in management roles. I think for the first time in Nigeria, I would say almost about 5 of the major banks have female MDs. So we are making progress.
Okay, we are
absolutely making progress.
Yes, we are, certainly. Thank you so much. Mrs. Bola Matal Oko, non-executive director at Wema Bank and also an executive coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
Same here.